politics, because that's the name of the channel. No, there's so much confusion that is given by mainstream media, especially ABC, in regards to what is going on in the Middle East. You can either have journalism or you can have essentially kind of like a misleading propaganda machine that's for the Democratic Party. Because I was saying on this other video I posted this morning, every single image that's coming out of Iran on the left media is showing people mourning over the loss of the dictator. And that is just simply not what's happening across the rest of the civilized world, including parts of Iran, where Iranians are celebrating the loss of the dictator. Someone who oppressed the region for so long and caused so many deaths by, the hands of the militia groups and the official government in Iran, particularly 30,000 protesters. And the United States said enough was enough. They went in with swift action to take out the dictator. But it's a bad time for dictators. I've been on all these groups, primarily Cuban groups and Iranian groups, and all the memes are, celebrating Trump, celebrating the United States, celebrating Israel for the joint effort to take out Iranians. Now, as far as Cuba, Cubans want the same thing to happen to the dictator in Cuba. And Cuba thinks that they can go and just take the direction of misleading the public and lie about their military strength. So their military strengths, they say they have a million-strong militia, but after having been in Cuba and talking to locals, there's no militia. Not even the police officers have weapons. So, this act of war against Iran is really going to signal to the rest of the civilized world what America is capable of. And the world that is loaded with dictators, those dictators are going to be shaking their boots. And that's exactly what Trump needs to show his strength and support. But can you imagine if Kamala Harris had the same situation come up on her desk? Would she have made those decisions in Iran? Probably not. Would she have sent, billions of dollars on a secured airline plane to Iran as a peace offering? Probably, just like Obama. We're looking at such a time that when Israel and the United States completely eliminate the leadership in Iran, there more than likely will be an insurgency group that takes the local government. And that's what the United States has always wanted. And we are on their side. And that's also what Trump is calling for the Iranians to do, to take over their own government, because we were birthed out of a revolution in the United States. Young men did not like what was going on in England, and they decided to create this country that we are currently living in. 250 years later, we are doing the same to try to help these democracies grow and dictatorships end. And the amount of people on the Cuban side who want the Castro regime to be ended and over with, they are calling for the elimination of the dictator and democracy to enter the country. Now, the left always says it's exploitation. It's not exploitation. What people need is food, medicine, supplies. There's even this meme that came out on Cuban social media and groups about how do you, win the Cubans over, and it just kept on showing pictures of bread, rice, beans. Like, you just give the Cubans food and they will be on your side, because they currently do not have any. And the scarcity is getting worse. And this is coming from a point that the Cubans cannot support themselves because they relied heavily on their allies for a communist regime. Capitalism is the only way to have a successful global economy. They're cut off from the economy because of their economical policies. And the oil is not going to Cuba. If they were to relinquish their communist ways, oil would flow to Cuba, as long as other things. Now, the blockade in Cuba remains on the American side for Visa debit, but they allow food and medicine. It is the Cuban government who would not buy food or medicine from the United States for close to 60 years. The famine and starvation that has happened in Cuba is by their own government repressing the Cuban people. And when it comes to a little history lesson, the Cuban government does not allow Cubans to buy oil with their local currency. They have to only buy oil with US dollars in US bank accounts or euros in European accounts. So their own Cuban people cannot buy oil from the government because the government wants to have control of all foreign currencies. So anyone who exchanges foreign currencies with the government, those governments keep that money and they do not let the people access it. So when it comes down to finding out how they're choking their own people from even buying basic supplies, the only way you can buy oil right now is on the black market in Cuba, and it's close to 4,000 pesos per gallon, which the average salary is 200 pesos a day. So you're looking at a mass disparity there. So all these people who are talking about revolution in Cuba on the Republican side are well educated, but the people who are talking about keeping communism on the left do not understand that the regime is not even allowing the locals to buy oil with their own currency. So there's also these things called dollar stores in Cuba, where Cuban citizens cannot purchase unless they have an out-of-country debit card, bank card that can buy in euros or dollars. So it's illegal to have a US dollar in cash in Cuba, but you can go and buy with foreign dollars as long as it's digital and as long as it's from a foreign bank account that's not Visa and debit. So once again, the only goods and services is to extract wealth from other countries. So if someone were to send a loved one in Cuba money through a foreign bank account, that's how they can buy goods and services. But you cannot buy goods and services with the Cuban peso or anything luxury such as shampoo. And yes, shampoo is a luxury in Cuba. When I was there, we even used it to wash dishes when we ran out of dish soap. So the Cuban people need to have this revolution. It's probably going to happen from within. So I made this poll in the Cuban group. How is the regime going to collapse and who's going to take it over? So I made a list saying, number one, there's going to be a coup. This was asking the group, who do you think is going to take over the government? Number one, there's going to be a coup, an illegal overthrow of the government. 3, it's going to be two, it's going to be the United States intervention, where they're going to have troops on the ground to completely secure the country and overthrow the dictatorship based off of the American lives lost on that boat. Or it's going to be 3, the Raul Castro's grandson is going to have capitalist views and switch the government to a capitalist government. And there was a couple others, but the complete liberation of Cuba is what they're wanting. And the United States has always been in favor of that. Marco Rubio has always been in favor of that, which he'll probably be a future president. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.